All right, hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about properties. You can see I've just done some handwritten notes here, so don't forget you can always just take handwritten notes if you forget yours or lose them. All right, so we have some properties. If you look at the notes today, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties we're going to go over. Some of them are split into two. So if you look on this side, I have all of the properties shown with addition, and on the right side, I have the properties shown with multiplication. And then down here, we just have one property with only multiplication. So I have been teaching this for a while, and sometimes properties are really difficult for students. So I'm trying to see if we can have you notice some things before we go. So I want you to start here at the commutative property and just pause the video and look at the examples and see what do you notice? What's the same and what's different? From this side to this side. What's the same and what's different? Same here. What's the same and what's different? All right, pause. Tell your neighbor you're pausing. All right, so you should have paused, and now you should see that the numbers are the same. I have 4 and 3 on the left, and I have 3 and 4 on the right. The numbers are the same, but what has changed is their order. Same thing here, 2 times 3, and then over here it's 3 times 2. So the numbers are the same, their order has changed. Excuse me. That is what the commutative property is all about. The order, or the numbers remain the same, but the order changes. So we would say the order doesn't matter when adding or subtracting. You're going to get the same outcome. See if I can, no. All right, so order does not matter. And I like to think of the commutative property, I think of a car. Let's see my best ability to draw a car on Cami here. Because to commute means to travel. So these numbers are traveling from one side to the other. All right, so commute, car, travel. The numbers have changed their order. All right, let's go down to the associative property. So again, we have addition over here, multiplication on the right. Pause the video and look, what's the same, what's different? All right, so let's tell, I guess you're not going to tell your neighbor, but that's all right. We're going to look here. I have 2, 3, 5, 2, 3, 5. This time the order has not changed, but what has changed is here I had 3 plus 5 inside the parentheses. Now the parentheses have moved to the beginning of my expression, and 2 plus 3 is inside. So again, 6, 4, 8, 6, 4, 8, 2, 9, 4, 2, 9, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, 6, 4. The order has not changed. What has changed is the placement of the parentheses. So the way you group numbers doesn't change the sum or difference. So if you know what associates are, oops, not the sum or product, I should have said not difference. Associates are people you kind of like know, or I like to say like who you're hanging out with. So this property, I like to think of friends or who is in your group. So the order isn't changing, just maybe who you're hanging out with on any given day or who's best friends in a group. That's how I think of this one. Okay, so I'm going to draw my little friends over here. You can make them more detailed if you'd like. All right, inverse property. Pause. What do you notice? All right, hopefully you paused. Here you'll notice that on this side, we have after the equals, a 0. Find my highlighter. So we have 0 over here, and here we have equaling 1. So it does matter depending on if it's addition or multiplication, but what you'll notice here too is we're adding opposites. -3 and 3 are opposites. 20 and -20 are opposites. So this property says anytime you add opposites, you're going to get 0. And over here, these numbers are related because they are inverses. So here's 5 and here's 5. Here's 3 and here's 3. You'll see the fraction is just like flipped upside down. And in order to see that fraction flipping here, we would have to think of 3 over 1. If I put 3 over 1, then I'll see the 1 on the top. Struggling a little bit with my drawing. 3. Here we go. 3 is on the top. Sorry, 1 is on the top here and 1 is on the bottom here. And then on the 3 is on the bottom here and 3 is on the top here. So if you have a whole number, just thinking of it being over 1. All right, so a number plus its opposite, you would write here. Equals, and on the other box it's going to be 0. And a number times its reciprocal equals 1. A reciprocal is when a fraction is flipped upside down. All right, let's move on to the identity property. So pause and see what you notice. All right, coming back from your pause, we should notice that here we have a 0 in both of our problems. So we have a 0 here and we have a 0 here. And then you'll notice the first number, or the non-zero number, is what we get as our answer. Here's our non-zero number, and that's what we get with our answer. So an identity is who you are. So I like to think of this as your ID. The identity or the number has not changed. Oh, wow, that's really bad. That's supposed to be a person. Draw a much better person than that. And then over here, you'll notice that we're timesing a number by 1. And when you times a number by 1, that non-1 number remains the same. Okay, so if you add 0 to a number, its identity doesn't change. If you multiply a number by 1, its identity doesn't change. The value of the number doesn't change. And then very end, the multiplicative property of 0. This is one that hopefully kind of goes without saying. Anytime you multiply a number by 0, you get 0. So here you have 2 zeros, right? You're timesing by 0 and you get 0. Up here, you're adding 0, okay? And the number stays the same. And up here, your answer is 0. So you do have to be careful and look at what's really happening to the problem. Okay, so multiplicative property of 0, 2 zeros in it. Up here, the inverse property, our answer is 0 because when you add inverses or opposites, you get 0. Here, when you add 0, its identity stays the same. All right, this is a really good study tool. Make sure you look it over. It's going to take time. You need to use this resource when you do your assignments until you know it. It's going to take more than just one time probably watching this video. You've got to practice. All right, nice job, everybody.